Many studies suggest that eating school breakfast boosts academic performance. To increase participation in the school breakfast program, some schools offer breakfast for free to students whose families may have trouble paying for it. However, less than half of the students who are eligible for free breakfast actually participate in the school breakfast program. Traditionally, free school breakfasts have been offered only to students whose household incomes fall below a certain level. Some, such as New York University's Dr. Amy Ellen Schwartz, believe that this has created a stigma that may discourage children from eating school breakfast.
Sometimes there are stigma kinds of reasons that we're concerned about, that showing up for breakfast in a school where only the poor kids are showing up is kind of widely recognized as being like the flag, I'm one of the poor kids and I'm going to get free breakfast.
To overcome this barrier and increase the number of children eating school breakfast, many schools are now offering all children free breakfast regardless of the family income. In a recent study, Dr. Schwartz and her colleagues found that offering universal free breakfast not only increased the number of students who participated in breakfast in New York City, but also saved the district some money.
A really interesting thing about our findings is that the introduction of universal free breakfast seemed to provide benefits for all kids. So the poor kids, the non-poor kids, everybody seems to have benefited in the sense that participation increased. Participation increased more for poor kids than the non-poor kids, which we think is super interesting because of the stigma question. And in some sense, you thought that it wouldn't affect them at all. Breakfast was free for them before and it's free after. In some sense, they should not be affected at all. And so that they were is interesting and important. But this is not an example of a program that benefited some to the detriment of others. Pretty much we see all kids having some benefit of some kind. So thinking about the cost side of universal free breakfast, it's a little complicated. The easy thing to see is what happened to the revenue they collected from breakfast, and that dropped. At the same time, you have to have people there to collect the money, and you have to find a safe place to store the money. And so the cost side is less easy to see, but my understanding is that it was, the cost savings was pretty big.
In fact, states could be losing out on millions of dollars in federal funding by not increasing participation in their school breakfast programs. So we've seen that offering universal free breakfast can increase participation in the school breakfast program and give school districts a financial boost. But does it have any benefit to children? Dr. Dallas Daughter found that a universal free breakfast program in San Diego improved students' math and English scores in a way that was cost-effective for the district.
Yeah, so when looking at the impacts of breakfast in the classroom on student achievement, I found that in schools that didn't previously offer universally free breakfast, students saw an increase in math gains of about 15% of a standard deviation, an increase in English language arts gains of about 10% of a standard deviation. On average, for a newly participating student, that is one that wasn't already receiving school breakfast, it cost them roughly $200 per year to provide that student with breakfast. So if you look at other policies that have been estimated to have similar impacts to student achievement, this is relatively inexpensive.
These studies are promising. However, there is still more to learn about the effects of offering universal free breakfast in schools. Does it increase achievement by encouraging attendance? Or does it boost student performance by improving children's overall nutrition? Does providing universal free breakfast have any negative effects on students' health? Despite these unanswered questions, the scientific evidence suggests that offering universal free school breakfast can benefit students while saving schools money.